Sometimes a small thing can change everything. And that was exactly what happened to me. Kelly. 3 weeks before my engagement party. I'm 30 years old and I was very excited to marry Michael. My boyfriend of 5 years. We had been planning this party for months. And everything was going perfectly. But out of nowhere, my mom called Kelly to cancel the engagement party. Cancel it, she demanded over the phone. I almost dropped my cell phone from the shock. Are you serious? Mom? I asked, hoping it was a joke. It's not a joke. Lauren just got promoted. And we are celebrating the day of your engagement, she replied. Lauren, my younger sister by 4 years, has always been my parents' favorite. But this was a whole new level of crazy. Mom, please. I've been planning this for so long. I'm not going to cancel just because Lauren got a promotion at work, I said, trying to stay calm. Don't be selfish. Kelly, this is a big accomplishment for your sister. It's the same guests, just change the date of your party, she insisted. I felt my anger rising. No way. Mom, this is my engagement we're talking about. I'm not canceling. Period. I replied firmly. She started yelling. And her voice was so loud that it hurt my ears. I didn't even bother to listen, I just hung up the phone. As I stood there staring at my cell phone, memories of my childhood came flooding back. It was always the same, Lauren first. Then me. I remembered my 18th birthday, which my parents completely forgot until my grandmother arrived. She called to wish me a happy birthday, and they quickly organized an impromptu celebration with a supermarket cake and a gift card. It was pathetic, especially compared to the huge 5-day party they threw for Lauren's 15th birthday just a few months earlier. Michael arrived shortly after. As soon as he saw me, he noticed something was wrong. Kelly, what's wrong? He asked as he sat down next to me. I told him everything my mom had said, her demands, and the memories flooding my mind. Michael listened attentively, and with every word I said, I saw him become more upset. This is ridiculous, he said when I finished. We're not canceling anything. I nodded, grateful for his support. I know, but why can't they put me first? Even just once? I asked, feeling the frustration growing. Why are they like this? Because they are. Michael replied firmly, but I always put you first. I looked at him, and I couldn't help but smile a little. I know. That's why I'm marrying you. Silly. We spent the rest of the night going over our plans, making sure everything was perfect. As I drifted off to sleep, I tried to push the thoughts of my family out of my mind. This was my moment, my time, and I wasn't going to let them ruin it. The next morning, I woke up determined to forget about my mom's crazy call and focus on the party. I had a million things to do: send invitations, order the decorations, organize everything. Suddenly my phone vibrated. It was my cousin Julie. Hey Kelly. Is everything okay with you and Michael? I heard you guys broke up, her message read. I stared at the screen, completely confused. Where had she gotten that idea? I quickly replied. What? No, we're fine. Who told you that? Julie's response came quickly. That's weird. Aunt Olivia said your mom told her that the engagement was off. I felt my stomach drop like a stone. I called Julie immediately. What's going on? I asked as soon as she answered. I don't know. Kelly. Aunt Olivia called last night and said your mom told her that you and Michael had a huge fight and cancelled everything. She also said that we should all go to Lauren's promotion party. It was as if I had been punched in the stomach. Julie. All of that is lies. Michael and I are still engaged. And the party is still on. My mom wanted me to cancel it for Lauren's thing. But I told her there was no way. There was a pause before Julie replied. Oh no. Kelly. I'm so sorry, I had no idea. I spent the next hour on the phone with Julie trying to understand what was happening. It turns out my mom had gone behind my back. She had called everyone on the guest list, telling them a ridiculous story about how Michael and I had broken up and redirecting them to Lauren's promotion party. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. I'm going to fix this mess. Can you help me spread the word that the engagement is still on? I asked Julie. Of course, she replied without hesitation. I'll start calling people right now. After hanging up, I sat on the couch, trying to process everything. My own mother had tried to sabotage my engagement party. It was almost too crazy to believe. Michael came home an hour later from work. And when he saw me, he knew something was wrong. I told him everything, my mom's calls, the lies, and how she had redirected everyone to Lauren's party. With every word I said, I could see the anger growing in his eyes. "This is unacceptable," he said when I finished. "We're cutting ties with all of them, your parents, Lauren, everyone." I knew he was right. But the idea of cutting off my family scared me. Despite everything, they were still my family. "Let's focus on fixing this first," I said. "We have to let everyone know that the engagement is still on." Michael nodded resolutely. "Okay. Where do we begin?" We spent the rest of the night doing damage control, making sure everyone knew the truth. I spent hours sending emails, making calls, and posting on social media. I wrote a long message explaining everything and sent it to everyone on our guest list. It was exhausting and humiliating to have to explain over and over again that no, Michael and I hadn't broken up. And yes, the engagement party was still on. When we finally finished, it was past midnight. My voice was hoarse from talking so much, and my eyes were burning from staring at screens. "We did it," Michael said as he hugged me. "Everything's going to be okay." I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. My mom's betrayal had opened old wounds. All the times I had been ignored, all the times Lauren had been the favorite. It all came back to me. The next day, I decided to visit my Aunt Nicole. She's my dad's sister and has always been very kind to me. I thought I'd personally invite her to the engagement party and clear up any confusion. When I arrived at her house, I heard voices coming from the living room. I was about to shout a greeting when something made me stop dead in my tracks. "I can't believe Kelly would do something like that," Aunt Nicole was saying. "Canceling her own engagement party just to spite her sister. How childish." I felt my heart sink. It was another lie spread by my own family to cover up the first one. I was about to walk in and set the record straight when I heard another voice chime in. "I know. Poor Lauren must be devastated. After all that effort to get her promotion. And now Kelly is trying to steal her thunder." I recognized that voice. It was my cousin Maria. I always thought we were close. But there she was, gossiping about me behind my back. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked into the living room and asked, "Is that what you really think of me?" Both women jumped as if they had seen a ghost. Aunt Nicole was the first to react, quickly feigning a smile. "Kelly, dear, we didn't hear you come in," she said nervously. "Obviously," I replied coldly. "I came to invite you to my engagement party, but it seems you've already made up your minds about me." Maria at least had the decency to look ashamed. "Kelly, we didn't mean to," she started to say. I interrupted her. "I want to know exactly what my mom told you." For the next hour, the two of them told me all about the twisted story my mom had concocted. According to her, I had thrown a tantrum when I found out about Lauren's promotion and demanded that they cancel her celebration. And when Lauren refused, Mom said I decided to sabotage her. Supposedly, I had cancelled my own engagement party out of spite, saying I'd rather not get married at all than share the spotlight. It was just another lie from my family. When they finished telling me everything, I was shaking with anger. "None of that is true," I said, my voice trembling. Mom called me and demanded that I cancel my engagement party for Lauren's celebration. I told her no, and now she's spreading lies to sabotage me. I told them everything, the forgotten birthdays, the constant comparisons, the years of feeling like I was never good enough. When I finished, both women were crying. "Oh, Kelly," Aunt Nicole said, taking my hand. "We had no idea. We should have known not to believe such crazy stories." I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. "Look, I appreciate the apology, but now I need your help. The engagement party is still on, and I need you to spread the word. Can you do that?" Both of them nodded enthusiastically, relieved to have the chance to make things right. When I left Aunt Nicole's house, I felt confused. I was angry about my mom's betrayal, hurt because my family had so readily believed the worst about me, but also a little hopeful. At least some of the truth had come to light. The big day finally arrived, and I was a bundle of nerves. As Michael and I walked towards the venue, I held my breath. We opened the doors, bracing ourselves for whatever disaster might await us inside. But oh my God, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The place was packed with people with smiling faces, all turning to greet us. A warm, pleasant feeling washed over me. The room was filled with relatives. Not just the ones we'd managed to contact the day before, but also faces I hadn't seen in years. I can't believe everyone came, I said. My voice choked with emotion. Uncle Paul, my dad's brother, walked over and clapped Michael heartily on the back. Of course. We came. Did you really think we'd miss this? He said with a grin. I have to say, those rumors about your cancelled engagement spread like wildfire. But it seems they backfired big time, someone else added. I couldn't help but laugh, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. I guess they did, I replied as Michael and I made our way through the crowd, absorbing all the congratulations and well wishes. However, I couldn't help but notice that Mom, Dad, and Lauren weren't there. Not a text, not an email, not even a brief congratulations. But surprisingly, their absence felt more like a relief than a disappointment. Instead, I found myself moving towards Michael's parents, who were looking at us with genuine pride and love. His mother hugged me tightly and whispered, "We are so proud of you, Kelly. You're already part of our family." The party was in full swing when suddenly there was a commotion near the dance floor. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was my grandmother, 83 years old, in the center of the floor, dancing what she called a fiery dance from her youth. "Come on, youngsters," she shouted, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Let me show you how we used to dance in my day." The crowd went wild. Grandma was twirling and swaying, moving surprisingly well for her age. Soon others joined in, and the dance floor transformed into an incredible multi-generational dance-off. As I mingled with the guests, I couldn't help but overhear some gossip about all the family drama that had occurred before this day. "Can you believe what Kelly's mom tried to do?" I heard Cousin Maria say to another relative. "Tried to cancel her own daughter's engagement party for her other daughter's job. It's insane. Poor Kelly," another voice responded. "She's always gotten the short end of the stick in that family. I'm glad she's finally standing up for herself." Instead of feeling embarrassed or annoyed by these conversations, I felt validated. For the first time, my relatives were seeing the truth about my family dynamics, and they were on my side. As the night wore on, that feeling of support filled me with strength and gratitude. I found myself feeling truly happy and celebrated. Perhaps for the first time, the absence of my immediate family, about which I had been so worried. Instead of feeling bad, I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The day after our amazing engagement party, Michael and I were relaxing on the couch, reliving the great moments from the night before, when my phone rang. My stomach flipped when I saw it was Mom calling. Despite my better judgment, I answered the call. "Hello, you nasty, ungrateful child," Mom said, yelling through the phone. "How dare you?" I held the phone away from my ear. Her angry ranting was loud, even from a distance. Michael looked at me, concerned, but I shook my head, signaling to him that I would handle it. "Mom, what's wrong?" I said. She interrupted me. "You've humiliated your sister. Only 5 people showed up to her party, and they were just those nosy old biddies who would do anything." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I'm sorry you're disappointed," I replied. "But, Mom, Lauren is devastated," she wailed. "She cried all night. It was supposed to be her moment. And you ruined it with your selfishness." I felt my patience wearing thin. "Mom, I've been planning my engagement party for months. Lauren's promotion party was a last-minute thing, and she knew it clashed with my engagement. That's no excuse," Mom said. "Family comes first, Kelly." "But clearly, you don't understand that." Before I could respond, she hung up. Immediately after the call, my phone vibrated with a text message from Lauren. "I hope you're happy you ruined everything. I will make you pay for this humiliation." I showed the message to Michael, who frowned. "She can't be serious," he said. The next 3 weeks were quiet, and I started to think that maybe the storm had passed. But then one afternoon, there was an unexpected knock on our door. I opened it to find Michael's parents standing there, looking worried. "Mr. and Mrs. Adam, what a surprise. Is everything all right?" I asked. They exchanged quick glances before Mrs. Adam spoke. Kelly, dear, can we come in? We need to talk to you about something. My heart sank as I led them into the living room. Once we were all seated, Mr. Adam cleared his throat. Kelly, he said, we've heard some troubling rumors. There's been talk that you've been cheating on Michael. I felt like I'd been slapped. What? That's ridiculous. I would never. I began. Dear. Mrs. Adam interrupted me gently. We've known you for years. We don't believe it for a second. Relief washed over me quickly, followed by anger as I realized where these rumors were probably coming from. It's my sister, I said, my voice slightly trembling. She threatened to get revenge on me for ruining her promotion party. She must be spreading these lies. Mr. Adam nodded gravely. We thought the same. We wanted to come to you directly rather than let these rumors fester. When they left, they promised to help stop any rumors they heard. I felt conflicted inside. I was touched by the Adams' support and faith in me, but I was also furious with Lauren. How could she stoop so low? After all that happened with Michael. Just a few minutes later, I received a call from Grandma. Her normally cheerful voice sounded worried. Kelly. Honey, she began. I've heard about all this mess with your parents and Lauren. Don't you think it's time to bury the hatchet? I sighed, feeling the weight of her expectations. Grandma. It's not that easy. They've really hurt me. I know. Honey, she said. But your family is your family. Surely there must be a way to work things out. I could hear the pleading in her voice, and it squeezed my heart. Grandma had always been there for me, even when the rest of my family hadn't. I hated to disappoint her. What do you think I should do? I asked, already dreading the answer. Why don't you try reaching out? Make a peace offering. Show them that you're willing to fix things. I closed my eyes, torn between my love for Grandma and my need to protect myself. After a long moment, I sighed. Okay, Grandma, I'll try. For you. That night, I stood at my parents' door, my heart pounding. As soon as I walked in, I knew this wasn't going to go well. Lauren was there, her face full of rage. And before I could even say anything, she spat. You think you can just waltz in here and throw me a pity party? That's not what this is about. I wasn't going to, I started to say. But she cut me off. I don't need your handouts. Kelly. You think that makes up for what you did? I should have had my party on your day. People would have shown up. I stared at her, surprised by the bitterness in her voice. Lauren. I'm trying to fix things. Fix things, she shrieked. You ruined everything. Like always. It's always about you. I looked at my parents, hoping for some support. But they just stood there, nodding along with Lauren. She's right. Kelly. Mom said. You've always been so selfish. I felt like something snapped inside me. Without a word, I turned and walked out, ignoring their calls behind me. Later, I went to visit my grandma again. She greeted me with a hopeful smile. How did it go? Instead of answering, I pulled out my phone. Grandma, I think you need to hear this, I said. Her eyes widened in surprise, but she nodded. I pressed play, and Lauren's furious voice filled the room. As the recording played, I watched Grandma's face change from hopeful to shocked and then to deep disappointment. When it finished, there was a long silence. Then, to my surprise, Grandma reached out and took my hand. Oh, Kelly, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I am so sorry. I had no idea it was this bad. I owe you an apology. Grandma told me I shouldn't have been pushed to reconcile. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. It's okay. Grandma. You didn't know. She shook her head. No, it's not okay. I should have believed you from the beginning. I just wanted so badly for our family to be whole. We sat in silence for a while, both thinking about what had happened. Finally, Grandma spoke again. Kelly. Dear. I want you to know something. Family isn't just about blood. It's about love, respect, and support. And from what I've seen and heard, Michael and his family give you that. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for choosing your own happiness. The morning after my heart-to-heart with Grandma, I woke up to my phone buzzing like crazy. It was a barrage of angry text messages from my parents. My heart sank as I read them, realizing Grandma must have told them about the recording. How dare you record our private conversations? Mom's message read, ranting that I was nothing but a sneaky, ungrateful snitch. Dad's message was just as bad. I can't believe you would stoop so low as to secretly record us and then play it for your grandmother. You've betrayed this family for the last time. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Even with proof of their behavior, they still managed to make me feel like the bad guy. This was the final straw. I was done with my toxic family. In the following weeks, I tried to focus on work and my life with Michael. But Lauren had other plans. Her spite grew, and she started harassing me. It began with whispers at work. My colleagues would fall silent when I entered a room, only to start whispering again as soon as I left. I soon discovered that Lauren had been spreading ugly rumors about me, from calling me incompetent to telling blatant lies about my personal life. Then came the anonymous messages on social media. Hateful comments appeared on my posts, each one worse than the last. I couldn't prove it was Lauren, but the tone and content didn't leave much doubt in my mind. But Lauren's cruelty reached a new level when she tried to contact Michael. One night, he came home looking worried. "Kelly, I got a strange call today," he told me. "Said she was Lauren and tried to tell me that you were cheating on me." I felt the blood drain from my face. "What? Michael? You know that's not true." I replied quickly. "Relax." I shut her down immediately, he said. "But Kelly, this is getting out of control." I nodded, feeling a mix of anger and exhaustion. "I know, but I don't know how to stop it," I replied. Lauren was so obsessed with getting revenge on me that it started to turn against her. She became so focused on trying to make my life difficult that her work began to suffer. She spent more and more time plotting against me, and her co-workers noticed. They saw her whispering and spending long periods on her phone instead of doing her job. It wasn't long before her boss noticed too. I heard through the office grapevine that Lauren had received an official warning for her poor performance. But even that didn't seem to stop her. A month after her harassment campaign began, it came out that Lauren had been demoted. The irony was clear to everyone. The promotion she had wanted so badly, the one that had started all this mess, had now been taken away from her. After the drama with Lauren finally calmed down, I dove into wedding planning as if it were my full-time job. We finally chose a beautiful outdoor venue, a fairytale garden with a charming gazebo where we would say "I do." While we were there, envisioning our big day, Michael gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. I looked at him, feeling warm and content inside. Happier than I had ever been. "Yes, I am," I replied. And I meant it. With the venue decided, we moved on to choosing our wedding party. I asked my closest friends, the ones who had stood by me through all the craziness, if they would be my bridesmaids. They all said yes, which thrilled me even more. Then came the guest list. I sat at our dining room table, writing out the envelopes for all the relatives and friends who had supported us during these chaotic months. As I wrote each name, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for these people who had shown me what true love and support looked like. Family is everything. But when I reached the end of my list, I paused. There were 3 names I hadn't written: Mom, Dad, and Lauren. I stared at those blank spaces and felt a whirlwind of emotions inside me. Michael found me there, staring at the paper. "Are you okay?" he asked, placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. I looked at him, tears in my eyes. "I don't think I'm inviting them, Michael. Not after everything that happened." He nodded understandingly. "It's your decision, Kelly. Whatever you decide, I support you." I took a deep breath and put down the pen. "No," I said, my voice firmer than I expected. "They don't deserve to be there. This day is about celebrating love and support, and that's not something they've shown me." As I made that decision, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. This wedding was about starting a new chapter, surrounded by people who truly cared about us. And I knew that with Michael by my side, I was making the right decision. When I said those words, it felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It was a bittersweet moment, realizing that cutting ties with my toxic family was the best thing for my future. Of course, there was sadness, but it was mixed with an overwhelming sense of relief. The weeks flew by, and before I knew it, our wedding day had arrived. I stood in front of the mirror in my bridal suite, adjusting my veil. I hadn't felt this beautiful or this happy in years. As I walked down the aisle toward Michael, I saw the faces of the people who had supported us. Michael's parents were beaming with pride. My grandmother was dabbing her eyes with a tissue. And our friends and family who had stood by us, despite all the family drama, were smiling warmly at us. These were my people. The ones who had shown me what true love and support really meant. When I reached Michael, he took my hands in his. His eyes were shining with love. As we exchanged our vows, I felt a deep sense of being in the right place. This was where I belonged. At the reception, surrounded by laughter and joy, I had a huge realization. My engagement party months ago wasn't just about celebrating our upcoming marriage, it was the first day of my new life. One where I was no longer a bystander but the creator of my own happiness. As Michael and I danced our first dance as husband and wife, I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling truly at peace. The journey had been rough, no doubt, but it had brought me here, to a place of strength, wisdom, and genuine happiness. I love you. Michael, he whispered in my ear. I love you too. I replied. My heart swelled with emotion. In that moment, I knew that whatever life threw our way, we would face it together. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of the future. This was my fresh start. And I was ready to dive in head first. With Michael by my side,